Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're sorry to come on so late. We had a couple of doctor's appointments today. Some things are going on that we're trying to get some answers for, and we're sorry we're coming on so late. Folks, we have a lot to speak about tonight and very little time to do it. I want to first talk about what's going on over in the Middle East. Yemen has launched drones against Israel. Yemen has launched drones against the United States Navy in the Middle East and over in the Mediterranean. And those people that have launched the attacks against the government, against other governments, against oil tankers like you see here. This is a Zodiac maritime vessel. It's a oil tanker that's owned by Zodiac. However, it's licensed for Israel. Oil coming over towards Israel. There has been attacks against these oil tankers. There's been attacks against U.S. Navy vessels. Armed assailants have seized and later released a tanker that was linked to Israel off the coast of Yemen on Sunday before being apprehended by the United States Navy. 2 ballistic missiles were fired from Houthi-controlled Yemen that landed near a U.S. warship in the Gulf of Aden, raising the stakes amid a series of ship attacks linked to Israel and the Hamas war. These Houthi attacks are spurred by Iran. Yemen's internationally recognized government blamed the Iranian-backed Houthis rebels for the attack, though the rebels in control of the capital Sana'a did not acknowledge either the seizure or the missile attack. The attackers seized the Liberian-flagged Central Park, managed by Zodiac Maritime in the Gulf of Aden. The company, the U.S. and British militaries, and private intelligence firm Ombre have said that they are investigating and they will follow up and they will also retaliate. London-based Zodiac Maritime is part of Israeli billionaire Eli Ofer's Zodiac Group. Zodiac described the vessel as being owned by Cline Shipping Incorporated, though other records directly link to other people. British corporate records listed 2 men with the last name Ofer as the current and former director of Cline Shipping, including Daniel Guy Ofer, who is also director of Zodiac Maritime Shipping. Early Monday morning, Zodiac said their vessel carrying phosphoric acid and its crew of 22 sailors from Bulgaria, Georgia, India, the Philippines and Russia, Turkey and Vietnam were unarmed. Quote, "We would like to thank the coalition forces who responded quickly, protecting assets in the area and upholding international maritime law." The U.S. Military Central Command said in a statement early this morning that its forces, including the Arleigh attack destroyer Mason that you see right here, the U.S. Military Command said that they responded to the seizure and demanded the armed assailants release the tanker. Subsequently, 5 armed individuals debarked the ship and attempted to flee via their small boat. Central Command said that the Mason pursued their attackers, resulting in their eventual surrender. The U.S. destroyer Mason sails in the Suez Canal near Egypt. It came through the Suez Canal in March 2011 for the first time. Armed assailants seized and later let the tanker go that was linked to Israel off the coast of Yemen yesterday, before being apprehended by the U.S. Navy. 2 ballistic missiles were fired from Houthi-controlled Yemen. Then those missiles landed near the U.S. warship in the Gulf of Aden, raising the stakes amid a series of ship attacks linked to Israeli-Hamas war. Yemen's internationally recognized government blamed the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels for the attack, though the rebels in control of the capital, Sana'a, did not acknowledge either the seizure or the missile attack. The attackers seized the Liberian-flagged Central Park as well, another tanker, managed by Zodiac Maritime. They seized the Liberian ship in the Gulf of Aden again. Apparently, the Gulf of Aden is the place that these attackers, the Somali pirates and other attackers from Yemen and Iran, deem the easiest to gain access to, and so they attack ships that are pulling into the Gulf of Aden to use the Suez Canal. The United States military is keeping the shipping lanes open, and they're disciplining the attackers, the pirates, and all the other people that are against Israel and against the United States. London-based maritime Zodiac is part of Israeli billionaire Eli Ofer's Zodiac Group. Zodiac described the vessels being owned by Klumev Shipping. Now, we're going to keep updated on this. I have several links and sources that will keep us up to date on what is going on. But I'm being told that the United States Central Command and the U.S. military will not allow this to happen anymore. The missiles again landed in the Gulf of Aden, approximately 10 nautical miles from the U.S. warships. The USS Mason was concluding its response to the Central Park maritime vessel distress call at the time that the Houthis launched missiles against the ship. There was no damage or reported injuries from either vessel during the incident. Yemen's internationally recognized government, based out of nearby Aden, blamed the rebels for seizure in a statement carried by a state-run news agency. The Yemeni government has renewed its denunciation of the acts of maritime piracy carried out by the terrorist Houthi militias with the support of the Iranian regime. Iran's behind it. Yesterday's attack happened in part in the Gulf of Aden, and that is in theory under the control of the government forces. It's fairly distant from the Houthi-controlled territory in the country. Somali pirates, like I've said, are not known to operate in that area, but have in the past. The Zodiac Maritime has been targeted previously amid a wider, years-long shadow war between Iran and Israel. The drone attacks are being assessed by the U.S. military, Central Command, and other nations. The Western nations are there to try to stop the hostility. Okay? These drone attacks have actually killed 2 crew members aboard Zodiac's oil tanker Mercer off the coast of Oman. The British military's United Kingdom's maritime trade operations Trade Operations, which provides warnings to sailors in the Middle East, had earlier issued a warning to sailors that 2 black and white craft carrying 8 persons in military-style clothing had been seen in the area. Like I said, Central Command, the U.S. Navy, and other military organizations in that area are said that they're not going to tolerate any further attacks on our ships or attacks on any other maritime vessels in the area. Now, I want to go back to what we've been talking about during the last few days. Okay? We've been talking about Grindavik in Iceland. Some of you may know that Grindavik has been having earthquakes. We reported last week that USGS and the Met, which is the Meteorological Geological Agency in Iceland, had reported that there was a dike, a magma dike under the town of Grindavik. The dike is like this, okay? It's a force of magma underneath the ground that's coming up to the surface like this. So far, that magma has ceased to pound into the ground. The magma has quieted down. Now, there is still a possibility that there could be problems there in Grindavik. But the earthquakes that have been seen in Grindavik have now moved in northwesterly direction. They're not as common as they had been. Okay? So, what we have from Iceland is our sources are telling us that Grindavik could resume operations very soon in Grindavik. The companies that were doing business in Grindavik may begin to resume operations very soon, and possibly even this week. The earthquake swarm that began east of Singlerfell in the magma intrusion lasting over an hour. Okay, that has calmed down in Grindavik. Okay, there are no signs of an eruption as of yet, and the chance of an eruption anywhere near in either Grindavik or near Grindavik is diminishing. About 170 earthquakes have occurred in a swarm around and after midnight last night. The swarm occurred just east of Slingerfjell on the magma intrusion. The earthquakes lasted over an hour. 100 quakes compared to 1,000 quakes during the same time period last week. Most of the quakes were small, under magnitude 2.0, which is a minor earthquake. 1.0 to 1.9 are considered to be tremors. One earthquake at 12:26 this morning measured a 3.0 at a depth of 5 kilometers just north of Hagafjell. Okay? A 3.0 is considered to be a small earthquake. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. Having just one small earthquake is quite a feat, given that whole area has been seeing 1,000+ earthquakes every day. Earthquake swarms have persisted since the land began moving on October 27th at Bjornborn, although it's been fairly quiet the last few days. There are no indications of any volcanic eruptions at this time. With yesterday's safety level improvement, they have lowered the earthquake, I shouldn't say earthquake, but they have lowered the eruption level from emergency to danger. They've actually lowered it. Now that doesn't seem much like lowering it, but they have lowered it. Okay? Grindavik residents were given more freedom to move into the town. Companies have been told that they can resume operations soon. The Civil Defense Alert System in Grindavik was lowered from emergency to danger yesterday at about 11 a.m. In the next few days, the town will open to residents from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's pretty good. Open 7 hours. However, Civil Defense draws attention to the fact that this arrangement could change almost without notice if things change beneath the ground. Residents are still being asked to register on island.is. The online address, if you're a resident of Iceland and you live in Grindavik, you need to register on Island, island.is, and get permission to enter the town of Grindavik. But that permission to enter the town could be rescinded if things rapidly change underneath the ground. It could be rescinded very quickly. Only residents and those who have come to assist them in retrieving valuables are allowed to enter the town. Only one car is allowed per household, and it's not recommended that children come with residents. Container trucks, containers, or container transporters, large vans, box trucks, and trailers are not permitted in residential areas due to the risk of delaying or obstructing other traffic. As of today, cars requiring a general driving license B will be allowed, along with vans and other cars with a total weight of up to 3.5 tons, English tons. Since there is no active drainage or running water in Grindavik, toilets cannot be used. Temporary facilities have been installed at the two primary schools in the town. It is recommended that people bring food and water with them, as they are not available in Grindavik as of yet. A plumbing team came to Grindavik yesterday morning to bring heat to the houses that have been without heat since the town was evacuated in October. Bjorstein Einarsson, who is a master plumber, said, "We received a list of about 80 buildings, residential and industrial, which we are heating and getting ready for the coming winter." Bjorstein says the project has exceeded expectations. A good job has been done by fixing the heating supply pipes that have been torn apart by the earthquakes. We have hot water in almost all the houses, they're telling us. A lot depends on having heat in the houses to prevent damage to the houses, because you know that if the houses get cold, that cold could break the pipes. The cold could also break the walls and do damage to the building itself. So they're trying to heat it up to prevent that from happening. However, there are exceptional cases. Houses that are half used, they have not been allowed to enter. We're not going to put heat in them because there are no pipes. Well, I'm sorry, there are pipes all over the place, and it's too dangerous to be inside those buildings. So they're not going into those other part-time use buildings. Pornstein also said that the drainage pipes around and above the harbor in Grindavik have been photographed today, and they look good. They look good. The pipes look good. Okay? They were worried about that. Now, these were mainly pipes related to fish processing in the port area. The pipes had not been installed in the worst hit neighborhoods. Viro Reynason, Director of Civil Defense, said the operations went very well and that today was the most productive and positive day in over 3 weeks. This is the first time we're only making progress. It was, of course, difficult for many residents who came home today and perhaps saw a situation new in their homes that they were not looking for. So it may not be positive for everyone. But he thinks that this is the first day that they can talk about the fact that they're on their way back to Grindavik, occupying Grindavik. It may be possible to start operations with some companies very, very soon. If the risk assessment in Grindavik does not change and the trend remains the same as it has been for the last couple of days, that what has been seen just seems to be slowing down, then people will be allowed to return to Grindavik, and that's a good thing. Now, I have some people that I've been talking to. I talked to this morning early. They said that most of the Christmas shopping in Iceland has already been done. Most people in Iceland try to finish their Christmas shopping in November. How many others of us do our Christmas shopping for the most part in November? I don't think anybody really does. And those people that do are very exceptional. Okay? But it's almost Christmas. The question has been asked, will Christmas be celebrated in Grindavik? There will definitely be Christmas in Grindavik, but it's not certain that all residents will be there to celebrate Christmas. But it will be Christmas in Grindavik. They're already picking up necessities, including winter tires and other things for their cars, to make sure their cars can operate on the roadways during the heavy snows and the ice that's coming up. It's good that it's developing in the direction that the lava is not flowing into Grindavik. It was never in the plan. That's why it was such a big shock that there was a magma dike under Grindavik. They believe, the authorities believe in Iceland, and especially in and around Grindavik, that things are developing in the right direction. But it's been a huge roller coaster, because sometimes earthquakes have come back after the earthquakes have stopped for a considerable amount of time. All of a sudden they come back and everybody else thinks that they have to start over. When asked if Christmas will be celebrated in Grindavik, they certainly hope it will be. But they have to somehow deal with the emotional part that has taken a huge toll on the Icelandic people in Grindavik. Now, one more thing about Iceland, and then we'll leave Iceland and talk about some volcanoes throughout the world. Airline flights. There's still a lot of uncertainty about where and whether any volcanic eruption may take place on the Reykjanes Peninsula. One thing that can be said with a very high degree of certainty is that travel to and from Iceland is not being affected. If you have a trip to the country coming up, you don't need to worry about your flight being canceled. This isn't 2010, when flights were grounded by volcanic ash. Any potential eruption at this time would be completely different. Now, they're saying that they can't promise bad weather won't have an effect, but they do not believe that travel will be affected by an eruption from a volcano. That's what's going on there in Iceland. I wanted to make sure we had an update about Iceland. I thought that was very important. Now, volcanoes are erupting around the world. I'm going to go through this pretty fast. Okay? Luotolo in the Lesser Sunda Islands. Luotolo had a volcanic eruption of up to 7,000 feet, 2,100 meters altitude, flight level 070. Dukono in central Indonesia, Halmahera, Indonesia. Ducono had an estimated 9,000-foot eruption. As I have said before, I've been covering these eruptions of these volcanoes literally all over the world for a very long time. Ducono typically doesn't have an eruption over 7,000 feet. So for them to have a 9,000-foot eruption of that volcano, it's very unusual. And so scientists are keeping a very close eye on Ducono volcano right now. 9,000-foot eruption, 2,700 meters high. Flight level 090. We go over to Ecuador. Sangay volcano in Ecuador. It erupted. A 20,000-foot eruption. A 20,000-foot eruption at Sangay volcano in Ecuador. 6,100 meters high. 6,100 meters high. Flight level 200. Reventador volcano, also in Ecuador. A 14,000-foot eruption. 4,300 meters high. Flight level 140. We're keeping a very close eye on what's going on. San Dieguito volcano and Fuego volcano in Guatemala have been erupting. Popocatépetl has also been erupting, and you may have seen pictures of Popocatépetl shrouded in snow and the volcano erupting. Black soot, ash, and lava coming down the flank of the volcano. Popocatépetl in southeast Mexico. Over in Japan, near Iwo Jima, the volcano islands. The explosive activity is causing new cinder cones to develop on some of those volcanoes. The newly formed island that has been growing and has ejected tephra comprised mainly of dark black masses of lava bombs, and previous lava flows has enlarged the area island by piling lava material mostly to the north side. However, the morphology of the new island is undergoing strong ocean wave erosion as the edifice slowly consists of loose juvenile lava material so far, meaning that volcano wasn't a subterranean volcano, meaning under the ocean. So I shouldn't say subterranean, submarine volcano. The lava came to the surface. The lava has tried to build an island, but because the wave action with the ocean waters in the area, as soon as the magma starts piling on to itself, the ocean water waves have been washing it away. Okay, that's how it goes with the island building through the volcanoes. We go over to Indonesia. Krakatau volcano in Indonesia. There's been explosive activity that's continuing. There was noticed an ash plume that rose up to 7,000 feet yesterday, and it's continuing today. 2,100 meters high. Flight level 070 at Krakatau volcano. The ash cloud is moving at 5 knots in a southwesterly direction. Okay? Krakatau has been having abrupt, spectacular explosions in the volcano. That was mostly going on yesterday. The eruptive activities also continued today. Several intense eruptions took place yesterday at 8:17 a.m. in the morning, 9:23 a.m., 9:31 a.m. Isn't that interesting? 8 minutes later, it erupts again. 9:32, 1 minute later, and again at 11:43 a.m. yesterday morning. Those eruptions are spewing gray to black eruptive plumes, releasing fine ash particles in the area, rising up to 3,507 meters, or excuse me, 3,570 feet high, or 2,100 meters high. Okay, that's what's going on. Over in Java, Indonesia, Semeru volcano. The last reported eruption was yesterday, with an eruption up to 14,000 feet. Flight level 140. Again, Dukono erupted today and yesterday from 7,000 to 9,000 feet high. Ruapehu volcano over on the North Island of New Zealand. Ruapehu, I think it's called Ruapehu volcano, has reported a series of 40 small earthquakes beneath the volcano. So Ruapehu may erupt. Ruapehu is the volcano that's south of Topo Lake, south of Topo volcano. Topo volcano, as we've been telling you in the past, is a supervolcano located there in the central part of the North Island of New Zealand. Okay? Again, Santiguito volcano in Guatemala and Fuego volcano have both been erupting. Santiguito volcano erupted up to 15,000 feet high. Flight level 150, 4,600 meters high. Fuego erupted up to 15,000 feet, 4,600 meters high. Flight level 150. In Colombia, South America, explosive volcano activity is going on at Nevado del Ruiz. Nevado del Ruiz. That volcano erupted up to 22,000 feet high, 6,700 meters high. Flight level 220. It's ongoing. We will keep you up to date as things change, as they always do. Presently around the world, there's 42 volcanoes that are in some fashion erupting now. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about anything I've covered so far? I know I've gone fast, I've gone furious here, but I want to make sure we're getting everything in. Does anybody have any questions? Juby Joe says his father sent pictures of black molten rock. Oh yeah, I can only imagine. We saw that happen over on the island of Hawaii. Okay. Hurricane Heather says, which volcano erupted up to 60,000 feet? That was, hold on a second, let me pull the information up again. I got out of it. Let's see here, where do we go? Semeru is up to Semeru over there in Java erupted up to 14,000 feet. Let's see here. Let's see. Reventador volcano in Ecuador. Let's see. Hold on a second. Luotolo erupted up to 7,000 feet over in the Sunda Islands of Indonesia. Dukono 7,000 feet at Halmahera, central Indonesia. Sangay volcano was 20,000 feet, 6,100 meters, flight level 200. Reventador was 14,000 feet. Reventador and Sangay volcano are both in Ecuador. I didn't see a 60,000 foot eruption today. That was the other day. There was no 60,000 foot eruption today. Ulawan, that was over in Papua New Guinea the other day. That was a 60,000 foot eruption in Papua New Guinea. I believe it was last Wednesday that happened. Ulawan volcano, U-L-A-W-N volcano, Papua New Guinea. Any other questions? That was good. Thank you for that, Heather. Appreciate it. Heartside is asking, how come YouTube removes your subscriptions? They're doing it all the time. To everybody. Not just you, Heartside. They're doing it to everybody. What I keep telling everyone, review your subscriptions almost every day, or at least every other day, making sure you're still subscribed. When you do that, if they've unsubscribed you, please resubscribe immediately. If you haven't been notified lately when we come on the air, unsubscribe and resubscribe immediately. And when you do, go over to that little bell icon. Click on it. There'll be a drop-down menu of 3 items. Drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL. That should get you re-notified when we come on the air. Okay? But they unsubscribe everybody. They unsubscribe me. Go figure. I'm a primary voice here on YouTube, and they unsubscribe me. They unsubscribe one of our friends who's also not just one of my closest friends, but one of our mods here, Don Patoka. They've unsubscribed one of our other mods, Rob52. They've unsubscribed almost every one of our mods everywhere. The thing you need to do is go back and check to make sure you're still subscribed every day. That's the best idea. And like I said, when you do that, make sure you click on the bell icon, that little tiny bell icon, and make sure that they're still able to get you notified when we come on the air. But even that, they don't do it. Hurricane Heather says she pays for premium too, and she's been unsubscribed, and she works here as a mod on this channel. Go figure. Okay? It happens all the time. Rochelle D is saying, is there a record of how many volcanoes have erupted at one time? Apologize for repeating this. We've seen upwards of 42 to 47 on average every day somewhere around the world. 40 to 42 every day somewhere around the world. Okay? Any questions? Yeah, Demon Cat says start sending them complaints. I wish they would. I wish people would. Well, speaking of that, I have a great big huge complaint to file today. My friend Dave Hodges. I've spoken with Dave Hodges. He's been a constant voice on YouTube for many, many years now. Today, all of a sudden out of nowhere, YouTube ripped his channel out from underneath him, and you will no longer find videos from Dave Hodges here on YouTube. The Common Sense Show has been taken down unexpectedly. Now, from a conversation that Dave had today, he's not on vacation, but he's traveling. And he found out early this morning that they had taken his channel down unexpectedly. They did that to me last April. I had 25,000 subscribers and they took my channel down. And they're playing games with me again on this channel here. Hurricane Heather says, "What? I love Dave." I do too. Dave Hodges is a very nice guy. I've gotten to know him over the last few years, and I've spoken with him. He's a great man. They took his channel down out of nowhere. He had no strikes. He had not caused any problems. He never was being played with, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they removed his channel from YouTube. I fully expect that to happen to me as well. Now again, if you don't see me here on YouTube, go over to Rumble. I'm going to start doing some programs on Rumble. Now Rumble doesn't have the super chats like you see here. So if you want to support me on Rumble, you have to go over and put your support over at PayPal or Venmo. That's the only other way. Or you can send me support through the mail, which is P.O. Box 422, Valdese, North Carolina, 28690. Okay? They don't have the super chat like we have here. I appreciate any and all support you give us here. It helps keep this program on the air. Dave appreciated everybody helping to support his channel as well. Now it's gone. Dave will probably end up on Rumble or one of the other news sources that's similar to YouTube. I don't know where he's going to end up. He hasn't said yet. But I'm sure when we find out, it should be a good place, and we will pass that information on to you as well. But Dave Hodges was removed from YouTube early this morning. I support Dave Hodges. I always have and I always will. He's never led anybody wrong. Dave Hodges removed from YouTube earlier this morning. Now, me. Laura Marie just gave us another $20 super chat. Thank you, Laura. We really appreciate that. God bless you, Laura. We really appreciate all of you guys' support here. Now, I had 2 doctor's appointments. I've got 2 more tomorrow. I've had some personal things that have happened that I believe they're due to the radiation that I had last year. The treatments for my cancer. They're ongoing. I have a shot that they're supposed to be giving me on December 11th. And as I approach that date, I'll keep you apprised as to what's going on. The reason for my doctor's appointments now are because my insulin or my sugar levels have been skyrocketing lately. That's number 1. Number 2 is there have been some other things happening that are, I believe, due to the radiation. And we're trying to get some information about that. Hurricane Heather says, asking what did they say? I can't tell you right now. I will have more of an idea maybe tomorrow. But some of the things that have been happening to me are not that good. So we'll see what happens. Okay? We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys all apprised of what happens with my doctors. Anyway, going on. There are quite a few other things that I want to discuss with you. One of the things that one of my friends put up was this. He posted this earlier today. If you ain't all in at home, okay? If you ain't all in at home, you ain't all in anywhere. Okay? What are they talking about here? Friends, neighbors, loved ones, family members. I want everybody to be aware of what they're doing at in your own home. If you're with anyone in any kind of relationship, make sure that relationship is solid. If you're having a hard time at your home, you're going to have a hard time with everywhere where you're at. Whether you're home or anywhere else, in your work or wherever. Things will not be pleasant anywhere you're at if you don't have things right at home. This is very important. If you're having relationships with your wife or girlfriend or husband, guess what? You need to make sure those relationships are solid. Do not ever forget to tell the person you're with how much you care for them. Your children as well. Don't let a day go by without you telling them that they are loved. And not just telling them, showing them. Make sure you show your loved ones how much you care for them. It could happen that you might not come back to them, or they might not be able to come back to you at the end of the day. I saw that happen with a friend of mine whose wife went out running around town with her children, picking them up from school. Someone ran a red light and killed them. Please, please tell your loved ones how much you care for them and show them love and attention. Everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves that, guys. Okay. Now this. Many of you start your day by standing in front of a mirror. Tomorrow, this week, this year, always, as you pause to look at yourself in the mirror, think to yourself or say aloud, if you like, wow, look at me. I am awesome. I am a child of God. He knows me. He loves me. I am gifted with the Holy Ghost as my constant companion. Do that. See if that improves your way of life, how you think about yourself. Something else that I found today, and I'm going to go on with this. The Savior gave his life for each one of us. He knows our joys. He knows our sorrows. He knows my name, and he knows your name as well. When we covenant with him, he covenants with us. When he asks us to do anything, we do it, and he blesses us. We are in a covenant relationship with the Savior. He knows your name. He knows my name. He knows each and every one of us. He knows us, and he loves us. I want to make that perfectly clear. He knows us, and he loves us. Brothers and sisters, you might ask why I'm even talking about this. A lot of things have happened. My eyes are open. My eyes are totally open. I want to share this with you as well. Hurricane Heather says never leave mad. Never go to bed mad either. That's a good philosophy. Now, my friend Ezra Taft Benson said this: nothing's going to startle us more when we pass through the veil to the other side than to realize how well we know our Father in heaven. How familiar His face is to us. We were created in His image. Heavenly hosts are pulling for us. Heavenly hosts are waiting for us on the other side. Friends in heaven, we cannot remember now, who yearn for our victory. Our friends, our family members on the other side of the veil. They're rooting for us. They're yearning for our victory so that we can one day be reunited with them in heaven. We talked a little bit about that yesterday during our Sunday school lesson. If you didn't see that, I would urge you to go review it because it's very important. Heavenly Father made it very important because right after He passed away from this earth, He went to the spirits in prison, those people that had never heard of Jesus Christ. He went there and taught them so that everyone who has lived or ever will live here on this earth will have a chance to hear His gospel and to accept or reject it. That is one of the most wonderful blessings that the Lord has given us. But we need to know who our Heavenly Father is as well. We need to remember Him. We look exactly like Him. Heavenly hosts are in heaven waiting for us if we will just do what we need to do to return to our Heavenly Father. Please, folks, remember that. Remember that. Juby Joe says, I remember lately to give thanks that I can climb out of bed without pain. I would love for that to happen with me. To climb out of bed without pain. Or climb into bed without pain. That's one of the reasons I've been going to the doctors. Anyway, guys, I love you. I'm sorry I came on so late. This is an abbreviated show. As we are able to, we'll come back on the air at an earlier hour to be able to be with you and to discuss things that are happening in your neck of the woods and mine. I want to make sure that each one of us has the information we need to be able to make decisions and to prepare for what is happening in our lives. Not everything is good. I love you. I ask the Lord's blessings to be upon you every day. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Thanks for being here, everyone. We'll see you soon. God bless.